Revelation, 100 years later, Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty, free. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, and all men are created equal. The one day sons of all freedom, will they be able to sit down in the brotherhood? I agree. One day, their state sweltering with evil, injustice, sweltering with division. Each of us one day, they will not be judged.
Thank you for listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Second to one. And second and two. Here now goes to McCaffrey up the middle. Finds and he's off to the races.
Welcome to the In the Zone Sports Talk Radio Network. You're listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show with your host, Kate Davis from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with the large heart, and co-host Dana the Hater from St. Petersburg, Florida. Also co-hosting Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. These are your hosts, bringing you the ultimate in sports news for the ultimate sports fan. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Now sit back and prepare to get into another episode of the Just Us Sports Talk
Show. I know you're gonna dig this.
Second to one.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well out there today. It is chilly cold in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's about 20 degrees outside, little flurries here and there. I want to wish everybody a happy Martin Luther King Day. If you have that day off, thank Martin Luther King for that day. As you heard, a little speech by him earlier. Sad part about it is it's over 60 years old, and this country still battling racism on all angles in this world, not just here, but everywhere. It's just a sad state of mind when people can't get together and be happy with each other. Um, it's just maybe one day, maybe one day, maybe one day. So as you guys are known that the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning, losing 21-7, I believe it is right now at halftime. I wasn't going to adjust my show for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Never will, never would, never will. Don't like them, hate them. I'm a hater. I'm showing up as a hater of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I ain't gonna lie about it. I keep it real with you. Look like we got Lou and we got Matthew on the line. Welcome guys to the show. So let's get right into it. NFL wild card weekend, man. It was crazy. It was just crazy. Both my teams got eliminated yesterday, and I'm more disappointed with the Browns I am with the Rams, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think there's some bad play calling for the Browns. Stefanski wanted to outscore them, but I'm saying if you got a good defense, like my man said in Titans, it's like Novocaine. Just give it time; it'll work. He got questions about some of the play calls, but overall, man, I'm happy for the Browns getting to the playoffs. I mean, if you think about it, let's think about who they lost. And lost starting quarterback, starting running back. Been through five or six quarterbacks during the season, and they end up with 11-6 record, losing to Texans 45-14. I knew it wasn't going to be a close one. I thought it was going to be a close one. And I was really skeptical about it because when they played them the first time, CJ Stroud didn't play. But that just goes to show you how the difference between the starting quarterback and the backup quarterback. There's a couple of defensive players for Texas didn't play, but played this time around, and they put it to the Browns. I gotta give the Texans credit. They took us out to the woodshed and gave it to us. It's sad that the quarterback gave up 2 touchdowns, two pick sixes. Defense gave up 14. The defense gave up some points, but the offense gave up 14 points. So you take the 14 points away, maybe it's a different game, but it is what it is. So hopefully next year we can build on that. And I do have the Browns, the Rams. I have Miami, Pittsburgh. I thought I had printed out Seattle schedule. Yeah, I got Seattle schedule. Yeah, and I got let's see here. I got the Rams, the Browns, Miami, Seattle, San Fran, and Pittsburgh. I meant to pull out the Cowboy schedule for Lou, but we can always go back and look at that in another time frame. But give me just one second. Yeah, ready? Wow. Let's see. My notes fell down, so I gotta pick them up. Pick them up. Okay, so anyway, the games we played yesterday. I wasn't too upset about the Rams losing. I was upset how they lost. I looked at the referee report afterwards, read that thing, and they missed a whole bunch of calls for the Rams. I saw one play. I watched the game over again today, and I saw one play where it looked like the defensive back could have intercepted the ball, but he missed the ball. I'm like, he looked like he could have had that ball. I mean, it's just some things in the game, in some of the games you watch, you got to question yourself to find out, really, is it a feel good story? Is it do the NFL say to them, you can't win today, so don't try to win? The Rams always have problems in the red zone. That's something they need to work on. That's been Big McVay's nemesis all through the time he's been there. is going away from 3 instead of getting 7. But the play against Puka, they held him all the way down the field. Then they grabbed his jersey on a 3rd down, 4th down, and they didn't call a flag. They hit Matt Stafford twice, then stepped on his chest, didn't call anything on that right there. I mean that just reading it is like wow, So sometimes you think to yourself, wow, really? Is it fixed? Could it be fixed could it be fixed for certain teams to win? But again, even with the Rams being as young as they are, nobody expected them to go 10-7. They need to work on their on the road because they were 5-4 on the road. They need to work on that. They need to get better at that. This is the first year actually the Rams probably have their first round draft pick, so it's going to be a significant input on them. If you guys can see behind me, the stickies are going down. They're going down, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know where Dana is. I think Dana a little he's sulking right now about his team. And it is what it is. Can't see put it to him. That game right there, that was cold, man. That was a cold game. I don't know how. I can't imagine. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine being a fan sitting on that cold weather.
Drink anything.
Yeah. The drinks was frozen, and then you saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes' helmet cracked.
Yeah.
So man, there's a lot. That's crazy. And thinking with that in thoughts in mind, I would probably say within the next 15 years, there might be maybe one team above the equator that might not have a dome, but I think everybody else will be dome ready. I know Chicago's getting a new stadium that's going to be domed. Tennessee's talking about getting a new stadium that's going to be domed. Buffalo's getting a new stadium that's going to be domed. So that's 3 teams right there that will be inside a dome. And the thing about it is, if you want to have a perfect game, you have the perfect weather. You take away the climate, and it does help in a way. It gets better enjoyment for the fans, to be honest with you, and even with the players. But to play in like it was a -9 in Kansas City. That game, in my personal opinion, should have been played. That should have been the first game played yesterday, not the last game played, but the first game played on Saturday. Excuse me. That should have been because the weather would have been. The sun would have been up, so the weather wouldn't have been as bad. So hopefully the NFL learned from that right there. Kansas City wins 26-7. Miami still cannot beat a team over 500 other than the Buffalo Bills. I think they beat them early part of the year, or the Dallas Cowboys. One of them teams they beat early part of the year. Then the Packers put it to the Cowboys 48-32. You look at the stats and look at Dak throwing for 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's indicative of them coming back from a game. I mean, in all honesty, guys, I don't know about you. I watched the game in entirety, and the Cowboys looked like they just wasn't ready. It's like they never looked at any film. Like they were.
Because I thought they were gonna blow them right out.
Yeah, like they were running in the mud. But I think what caught them off guard first and foremost was when the Packers got the coin flip and they said, "We want the ball."
Right.
That right there should have told Dallas, "Look, this is what we about to do. They about to come at us. We got to play. We got to be on our P's and Q's." Because usually if you defer, you want to get the ball in the second half. They're like, "Nah, we're not doing that. We're not going to be. The analytics tell us to do that, but we're not going to be analytic right now. We're going to make a move. We're going to try something different," and it did pan out. It definitely panned out for the Packers. I tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but how do the Green Bay Packers with different coaches, same GM, maybe same owners, same administration, get it right 3 times in a row for quarterbacks? You get Brett Favre, You turn around and get Aaron Rodgers. Now you look at my man Love, and guys, you gotta remember though, at the beginning of the season they were talking about Love won't, he's interviewing for his job and things of that nature. I'm like, yo, this is the first full year he's out had opportunity to play, so I think that's unfair to him. But at the end of the day, he did a good job. He was slinging that ball all over the football field, and he made it look too easy for the Green Bay Packers. Now they go play San Francisco 49ers next week. And let's see how they match up against them. Texans play Baltimore, I believe. Um, Next week should be a good game. The Eagles and the Bucks still have to play. They have the Eagles -3, but the Eagles won't have the quarterback's hurt. They don't have Brown. And from the looks of it, Brown probably won't be back next year. They say he scrubbed his whole his whole Twitter account with anything that's gangrene and silver. So he's probably moving on to another team. So something internal is going on with the Eagles. And they've lost 4 games in a row, and they're in the playoffs. Like I said, that's my my team. When you win like 10, 11 games, and then you falter at the end, they're the new my. They're in the oh my with the Tennessee Titans, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have went 11 and whatever and end up losing the first round of the playoffs, or not making the playoffs. I mean, not making the playoffs, but lose the first round of the playoffs, like Pittsburgh did the one year, Tennessee did the one year, and they lose in the first round of playoffs. Wow. So, um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm I would love to see Baker Mayfield do his thing. Because he was with the Browns. I'm not a big Baker Mayfield field fan. When he's with the Browns, I felt we should have went out and got Josh Allen as our quarterback, and we didn't do it. And even though Josh Allen has his issues, but I just seen him take off for like a 50-yard run today. So apparently he still got something going on. Let's see who else we got. So we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who down 21-7 at halftime. Eagles play tonight. We talked to Rams. We talked about the Lions. Dolphins, Chiefs, Browns. So that's basically it for right now. So we have a lot of job openings coming open. Okay. The one that's really interesting to me, guys, and I want to get you guys' take on this one, is the Raiders job. Okay. They said that Pierce is he's the leading candidate to get the job, but he's interviewing other places, right? So Max Crosby came out and said, if you don't hire him as a coach, I'm demanding a trade. This is the second time they've had a coach that the players wanted, and they went and Al Davis Jr. has went in another direction. It hasn't worked out. Do you think that he should listen to his players this time around and say, okay, I'm gonna hire Pierce to be the quarterback for you guys, or do you think he should still give other people opportunities to interview them and bring them in to the fold of being a Buffalo Bill? Lou, I'm gonna ask you first. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to make it fair for everybody, I mean, I think you should review more candidates before making a final decision, because maybe I may have to be more cautious. So I think adding I think would be the right call to make.
Okay, Matthew, what's your thoughts?
I feel like currently the Raiders, I feel like they are going to stay with Pierce. As long as they offer the right amount of money, which shouldn't be a problem. But when I heard about Crosby forcing that he will force a trade request, if Pierce is not a head coach, it really doesn't surprise me, because I feel like Pierce is one of those coaches that's going to motivate or has motivated the players to get to the record that they finished with compared to the beginning of the season.
Right. I totally agree with you. I think that they did this before with Bashadi or Bassett or whoever he was, and they didn't bring him back. They brought in that dude, and that dude didn't do anything. And so now you're looking at they fired that dude in the middle of the season. Now Pierce got the job, and he's motivating those guys. I think sometimes you can't keep retreading coaches like that. And I think that with the Raiders, go ahead and give Pierce a job. Let him fill out his roster for who he wants as assistant coaches, and let's rock with it. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of playing with house money because they're going to be rebuilding. They're probably going after quarterback in the draft. And not that you don't want to succeed, but let him be that guy that will get the best out of his players while he's there. And Max Crosby's like he's saying, I want him here. The wide receiver, Adams, said, I want him here. You know, and if they don't go, you can count on some players asking for a trade to get out of there because they're not going to have the coach that the players want. And the thing about it is, if players are telling you, we feel like he's that guy for us, he can motivate us. He's that guy I'll run through the wall for. He's that guy that I can go to battle with. He's that guy I'll go to war with. He's that guy that, you know, I'm going to put in the extra effort. I'm going to come to practice a little bit earlier because of him. I'm going to stay a little bit later because of him. I'm going to give you my all. Then you got to take a look at that. You got to say, well, you know what? Maybe he is that dude for us. Maybe he is that dude for us. So I would love to see Pierce get that job. Next up, Jim Harbaugh's name has been mentioned on several occasions for several teams. I don't know if this is a ploy to get more money out of Michigan and stay in Michigan, or is he really thinking about coming to the pros? Because the pros and college is two different entities. Now he's been a pro before with San Francisco. He got them to Super Bowl, so he knows what he needs to do for whatever team he goes to get them there. But do you guys think that he has the patience to deal with the mentality of the pros now? Because now you got football players on your team, they got their own podcasts. They're not spending, they're doing what they want to do. They come and put in their work and they leave. It's not like they stay extra hours or anything like that. They put in what they got to do and they jump ship and go do what they want to do. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but the thing about it is that if this is paying my bills, I want to give it 110% that I do right by the team, by the organization, by my players I play with. You know, so can he handle the other activities that they have in the pros? And you go to college, you have your quarterback is leaving. He's declaring the draft, and you got to go out and recruit again. Now the problem with Michigan this year is that coming up this year, you got USC, you got Washington, you got Oregon, and you have who else is it? UCLA is coming to the Big Ten now. So the recruiting thing is going to be a lot harder now than it's ever been before, because now they can recruit almost everywhere, from the East Coast, from the Atlantic Sea, to the Pacific Coast, Ocean. They can recruit all over now because you got teams all over. You know, so that's going to make it a little difficult, or it's more challenging, not difficult, but more challenging for head coaches now as far as them going forward with recruiting. So I don't know what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. I have no clue. Everything I'm reading, it doesn't really clarify what he wants to do. I know he does probably want to get more money from Michigan if he can. But is he ready to come to the pros and rebuild a team that needs to be rebuilt? Because you have all these other teams. You had 7 other teams that's looking for a coaching vacancy, and all 7 of those teams could use him. Now, is he looking to go to a team that's ready made to go to the playoffs? The only one I probably would say that would be Bill Belichick. Lou, what's your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh and where you think he's gonna end up at?
That decision really, coming up, a week ago, I'm not so sure he was going to leave Michigan so quickly, head back to the play. I know he's been all the pros, but I think Michigan championship, and I think this is the point of I think I think we can stay in Michigan at least one more year.
Okay. Matthew, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts with Harbaugh, I feel like he will stay at Michigan, but not like that decision won't be made until like a few months before we get to the new season. Because today he just got done interviewing with the Chargers, and the Chargers said that even though we're interviewing you, we're going to be interviewing a lot of other coaches because we want to see if the coaches' answers to our questions will fit the chemistry with the players in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. And so
so I believe Michigan will offer him that money.
Okay.
And if there's anything Harbaugh's going to learn here because the NFL is that he's going to relearn the cap process because there's no boosters with NFL teams.
Right. And
like this is the transfer program.
And you know what else too is that he has to start recruiting kids real soon. So he, if he's recruiting kids out there, his decision got to be made within, I would say, before the Super Bowl. Before they play the Super Bowl, he has to make a decision because if you're recruiting kids and you recruiting them and they ask you, are you coming or you staying? Are you staying in Michigan or are you going? He got to give them some type of answer. You know what I'm saying? Because if they go in there for him and he leaves, now that's another can of worms you open up because now these kids are like, I ain't staying here. I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna leave because he's not staying here. You know what I'm saying? So that right there within itself is a problem that maybe he needs to address really soon. So I'm saying because he's a college quarterback, I respect for him. If I'm the pro teams, I know there's probably other coaches they want to interview, but I respect for him. I want to just go and just say to him, you're not our selection. You can secretly go back to Michigan and tell the players recruiting you're coming here, that you're going back to Michigan or whatever the case may be. But you gotta keep it to themselves until it's announced that he's coming back. That's the biggest issue I see with him staying in college or going to the pros, because there's definitely got to be a conversation on what he's going to do. Look like we got somebody else on the line. Is that Curry?
Yes.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah, good.
Happy Martin Luther King Day to you, man. Do you want to touch on them Dolphins at all, man, or what did you see? I got something that I want to talk to you about, but I'm gonna see what you got to talk about right now. If you have anything.
Well, like I told you, man, I just didn't know how they were going to overcome all those injuries. If you recall last week or whenever it was, I said I didn't think they would win another game.
Right.
And I'm not surprised because you just can't be down that many people on defense and expect to, just to win games. It's hard enough to win when you got a full squad.
Right.
When you're down like that, it's even tougher.
Right. So now, the issue I have with him though is that he asked Mahomes for his jersey out there on the field, and I know he wasn't gonna take his jersey off right there. He probably took it off in the locker room. But I'm saying to myself, bro, this is the playoffs. You don't ask nobody for no jersey, and let it be known. You don't do that. You know, and now his players are saying he's a little soft now. He a little soft, because with him asking him about about the jersey. And again, I'm gonna say you don't do that during the season. During a playoff game, because it's you against him, you know, and when your teammates see you asking that right there, asking a question like that, they were like, yo, really? You really asking this dude for his jersey right now in the playoffs? Come on, man. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? You know, so that right there,
Yeah.
I do have questions about that. Why would you do that during the season? I mean, during the playoffs. And the thing about it is, I don't agree with jerseys. I don't agree with changing jerseys anyway. Um, I don't think we as fans should know that they're changing jerseys. They should do that in the confines of the locker room and be done with it,
Yeah.
because it's just not. To me, it's just none of our business. It's none of. I don't care that you exchange jersey with somebody else. You do it behind closed doors. And then when you become, an analyst or whatever, and some guy look at your house, he's like, "Yeah, I got this jersey." Then that time and that time. But I don't know. I don't. I just so I can't remember when it started. I know it started more with basketball than it was anything else. Changing jerseys, but I just don't think that I respect you as a player on a not on the opposite team, but I'm out here to get a paycheck just like you are. And my job is to stop you from getting my job is stop you from winning the game. So I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm not your cousin. I'm not nothing to you until the season until this game's over with. And that's the part that really bothered me about hearing that part of what Tua said. Now, I got a friend of mine who's a big Dolphin fan, and I mean he brags all the time about them. William Perry. He bragged about them
Yeah.
when they lost to Ray. He said first thing he said to me was, "Yeah, they just got their paybacks from last year." I said, "Man, last year was last year. We talking about this year right now." I said, "And this year is a different frame, right?" I said, "Y'all only thing I had to do is win one of these two last games. I had home field advantage." I said, "You messed up my ticket because I felt like if Dolphins was at home, they had a better opportunity to go into the championship than anybody else did." I said, "So you messed up my ticket from the door." And he's like,
Yeah.
and so when I said something to him about going to Buffalo, oh man, we got everybody back on the offense and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So when I call him, he wants to, he wants to deflect to some other conversation. I'm like, man, stop with that. You need to stop it. You need to go ahead and just say what happened and be done with it. You know. But again, with Miami, that was my pick. I pulled it down off the board because they supposed to have home field advantage and they didn't do it. And that's the only reason why I picked them to win everything. But again, the jersey thing, I don't agree with at all. I don't agree with switching jerseys at all. I think that do that in the locker room where nobody sees it. Next up is my Rams. Um, did Sean McVay cause Rams to win? I'm gonna say yeah, he did. Because if you knew that the lines were running up and down the field on you, and you only had one time out left, you kick the field goal. If you missed the field goal, you missed the field goal. But you they're running up and down the field all day with us on us. But you're not going to give the offer. You're not going to let the field goal kick a field goal. I don't agree with that. I just saw a lot of inconsistencies with him in his play calling and even looking into his facial expressions. I saw some things I didn't like with him in that game, and so he cost them the game for not kicking a field goal. I'd rather you kick it and miss it than not take the chance. And McVay always took chances. I don't think nobody take more chances than Campbell do with the Lions, but he takes chances. When you know this is your last game of the year, you're gonna do what you gotta do to get that win, and he didn't do that. You know, so I think he cost him the game. And you'll hear him talk about that later on, in his interviews, whatever the case may be. Any comments? Any comments, guys, on anything right now? Okay. There was some talk about how fast the New England Patriots had got them a coach. Okay. And the reason why it was so fast that they got a coach, because I think it was some part of his contract that he could be the next head coach for the New England Patriots. But so let me read this to you, because some people came call me up. It's like, yo, how could he be coach when nobody else interviewed? I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if they interviewed him or not. I said, but let me check on something, because in all actuality, he's not the first coach. He's not the first coach for this to happen to get the job of a team that he's already with. So this is what it says. It says the New England Patriots on Friday announced the hiring of Gerard Mayo, who had been a Patriots linebacker coach 5 years and two-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champion for the team as head coach. Mayo, the franchise first African American head coach, will succeed Bill Belichick, who stepped down Wednesday after 24 years on the job. The Patriots hiring Mayo reportedly occurred without the team interviewing external candidates, including two other close ties to owner Robert Kraft, former Tennessee Titans head coach and Patriots Hall of Famer Mike Vrabel, and Minnesota defensive coordinator Brian Flores as the Patriots assistant coach for 2018. Now, Curry did send me something that said that there was a possibility that Vrabel was going to be the next coach. Um, for the Patriots. So this came to a shocker to everybody. That this came out. But what it says here, so it says Flores also is Flores is also a plaintiff in a federal lawsuit accusing the NFL, the Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, Giants, and the Denver Broncos, and the Houston Texans on racial discrimination and retaliation. Flores insisted the team conducted a sham and performance interview where they had no intention of hiring him, and met only to check off the box, including the interview in minority candidates. The NFL Rooney Rule requires, among other things, that teams interview at least two external minority candidates for open head coaching job position. Flores hopes his lawsuit is certified as a class action on behalf of all the black head coaches, offensive, defensive coordinator, and quarterback coaches, as well general managers and black candidates for those positions. The Patriots director hired the 37-year-old Mayo might seem a little circumventive of the Rooney Rule since they didn't interview external candidates. But Mayo's hiring on the Belichick successor was reportedly part of the most recent employment contract with the Patriots. The inclusion of the clause, as described by the media report, it followed the other teams seeking to interview him as a head coach. The NFL was aware of this clause and comfortable with it. The Patriots are therefore in compliance with the rule, a workplace policy designed to diversify coaching and front offices. Also, Mike Floor noted Mayo isn't the first beneficiary of the successor plan. Jim Moore, Seattle Seahawks head coach in 2009. Jim Caldwell, Indianapolis coach, 2009. Eric DeCosta, Baltimore Ravens GM in 2018, were each directly promoted by their team. This is also nothing inherently inferior about the promotion. One could argue that Patriots have been evaluating the interview Mayo for the last 5 years. The Patriots known other teams sought to interview him as head coach and induce him to stay, enhanced the word of his contract. The Patriots likely know much more about Mayo than the candidates who filed into the Foxborough Mass for the interview, even one who was a member of the organization some time ago. The Patriots' approach was possibly sensible in the context of Flores versus NFL. Had the team interviewed Flores and then hired Mayo, Flores would have had a valid argument. It was a sham interview in the light of the succession plan and Mayo's contract. Flores could have added the Patriots as a defendant. Whether the team used successful plans more going forward with the interest to follow, especially in those plans limited in application of Rooney Rule. So basically what happened here is that they didn't have to interview nobody because he was internal. Now, if they would have interviewed Flores and gave the other guy the job, it could have called it a sham because it would have been, okay, we need to interview a person of color, and he's going to be our person of color every interview, but we're going to get this guy the job. So they never did that, so they're fine with that. So what happened is the Seattle Seahawks, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Baltimore Ravens found a little loophole in that allows guys to interview for jobs, even though they're on the team, and they don't have to interview anybody else. It's a little loophole in this situation. Um, and the thing about it is, if Vrabel was the one that they wanted, he didn't go there, so maybe he might be the one that might be more pissed off than anybody else. But from what I'm hearing from Mayo is that, guys, all the free agents on the Patriots are saying they're staying because of him. They're not leaving. So that says something for him as the next head coach for the Patriots. So what you guys think about that? Curry, what's your thoughts first?
Well, the way I see it, I'm not a big fan of the root anyway, because it's just a formality.
Right.
And there's nothing concrete in it that says anything other than you just gotta say that we want you to interview a person of color. Okay. Now, once you've done that, then you feel free to go hire anybody you want to. So you can go back to what Forrest was saying. You had no intention of hiring me in the beginning. You just brought me in as a courtesy interview, and you knowing all the time you weren't going to hire me. So I don't have no faith in the Rudy rule whatsoever. And let me rest this up on this. And I don't really, I'm not a big fan of Brian Flores.
Okay.
For the simple reason is he comes out and he wants to bring out all this stuff after he got fired. Why did he not bring all this stuff up before he was fired?
Okay, I got you. I got you on that. But now my only take on this right here is that I think that with the situation with the Dolphins, that was premeditated as far as the thinking for him. And I think that's probably where he got more. That's where he got more frustrated with the Dolphin side of the house than he was anything else, because of the situation that actually happened with him being fired from the Dolphins after the Dolphins played well for him and they fired him anyway. So I think that's more or less why it all came out then than before. And again, there's a lot of stuff that happened during that time period that you probably won't never hear about. Even the situation with Tom Brady.
Well, it is true. You're right. I see the problem with Flores is he couldn't get along with anybody. He couldn't get along with his quarterback. He couldn't get along with his assistant coaches. If you remember when he first formed his staff, when he took over the Dolphins, he brought in Jim Caldwell, and something happened, but I never heard what happened. But Jim Caldwell quit right in the middle of preseason and said that he has some other things he wanted to do. And now that I look back and see how things have unfolded, I'm pretty sure a lot of that had to do with him not being able to see eye to eye with Brian Flores.
And that might be true, but you got to remember too, though, right? So when it all happened, Miami was what 0-8 or something like that, and then they started winning. They won like 8 games in a row at the end of the season. So apparently, like I said before, it's like Novocaine. Just give it time; it'll work. So something was working for him that gave them for that team that said, "Look, just give it time. It's gonna work." And I think that's what he was more. I think that's what he was more upset about than anything else, for real. Because I think when you go to an interview, if you're gonna get the job or not, really by the body language of the people that's interviewing you, and some of the questions they ask you. So I don't think I just think that he brought some light to some things. That is it helping? We're gonna find out in the next few weeks if it's gonna help with the next coaches that's gonna be coming up for the teams that are right now eligible for to have new coaches. We'll see how this thing pans out.
Yeah.
Out of the teams right now, that see, there might be two African American coaches that might get a job out of this out of these teams right now that are looking for head coaches. So I kind of feel that might be the case with that right there. But again, if you think if you guys think about this, how many changes did the NFL do because of the smart thinking of Belichick as a head coach? You know what I'm saying? There were things that he did, and they said, "Oh, he can't do that. That's cheap." No, he's just out thinking the other team. So now they got to put up. They got to say, "Okay, well, you like for example, bringing in a lineman to be a passer, to be a catcher, was never an issue until they start doing it. And now you have to tell the other team this player comes in is eligible. He's an eligible receiver because he was doing it and didn't tell nobody. But it's part of the game. You need to be able to be ready for all those types of trick plays. So if you think about it, he has really added some. He's made some more rules for the NFL, more so than anybody else, in my opinion. Curry, you about to say something?
No, I think that was somebody else.
Okay. Somebody was about to say something?
I disagree with it.
Okay.
Disagree with it.
Okay. All right, next up, guys. So I'm looking at Curry had brought up about the injuries that the Miami Dolphins had. And this I pulled up a report. It says 2023 NFL injury report, injury reserve tracker. So these are some of the names I'm gonna pull out are significant players for certain teams that have been on the injury reserve list this year. You got Joe Burrows, Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins are all quarterbacks. Okay. Behind him, you had Mark Andrews, T.K. Dobbins, Tank Dell, Jack Conkle, Nick Chubb, Javon Diggs, Corey Lindsey, Trey Davis White, Matt Judon, and Grady Jarrett. All these guys are players that have impact on the team that are not playing any longer because of injury reserves, which is just crazy how this thing happens to go. Now, Arizona, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna go and by Arizona, like Arizona has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have 15 players that's on the injury reserve, and out of the 15, 3 of them came back. One came back on week 17, another one came back on week 7, another one came back on week 6. Everybody else was out the whole season, right? And I'm just gonna go off of. Go ahead, somebody has something. Okay. Baltimore Ravens, who's been hit with injury reserve a lot in the last 2 years, but this year they seem like they've overcome it. Baltimore has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players that are injury reserves. And you have one that could come back in championship round, one come back in divisional round, one come back in the wild card round. One came back on week 17, one came back on week 8, 7, 6, and 5. Okay. Carolina. Oh my Lord. I think Carolina has the most. And this might be why Carolina was the team they was. Carolina has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They have 18 guys that's on the injury reserve list. And just think about this. 18 guys that are starters. Okay. You had 2 guys. You had 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 guys that didn't come back at all. Justin McGray, who's a guard, which is significant. Then they lost another guard. Then they lost another guard. Then they lost another guard. They lost 4 guards off their team. And the sad part about it is this right here. How many guards can you miss I mean, can you lose? And most of them are to knee injuries, hamstrings, biceps, things of that nature. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that's not coming back at all this year. That's probably got to be the most. Now I'm gonna go to the Browns. Okay, Anthony Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Grant Delp, Marquise Hurts, DeJuan Jones, Rodney McLeod, Deshaun Watson, Jared Willis, Nick Chubb, Jack Conkel, Jakeem Grant, Jacoby Phillips, Thomas Graham, Dakaris Keys, and Dawson Deaton. You have you got two quarterbacks, which the one with Deshaun Watson is the key one, right? And you have Grant Delp, who's a safety. They didn't come back. That was a significant player. Rest of the guys are the tackle Jared Willis, Nick Chubb, and Jack Conkel are players that start for the Browns. Rodney McLeod is the backup safety. See, Jacob Phillips was linebacker, Thomas Graham, defensive back, Dakaris Keys was a defensive back, and Dawson Deaton was a guard. So you lose, that's 17, what I say, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You have 15 guys that's on the injury reserve list that don't get a chance to play at all. And to me, the biggest loss was Nick Chubb's and the two offensive linemen. That was huge for them to lose those guys. That was really huge. Right now, it's 24-10. Buffalo got 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Joey Porter is walking to the locker room, I believe. That's not good at all. Dallas Cowboys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10. After 10, you have Trevon Diggs is big. Let's see who else we got here. Vander Esch, who's probably gonna be gone after this year because he stays injured. Josh Ball offensive tackle. That's big right there. Denver. Let's see. Let's go. So let's look at Jacksonville. Okay, see. Let's look at the Miami Dolphins. You got Jeremy Baker, Cameron Good, Andrew Van Gilkett, Bradley Chubb, huge, Connor Williams, Jalen Phillips, Salvin Adam, Isaiah Wayne, Miles Dorr, and Zach Vanderberg. So Bradley Chubb, that's going to be bad because he just did it this month. And so he's going to be out. He might not be able to make it back the next season. So they're going to have to find somebody to fill that spot. But all these guys, and then most of these guys are NA, so they're not coming back. And you have some guys that came back week 16, week 17, week 17, week 16, week 13, which is big. Now, the New England Patriots have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. Let me see the run of faith. So they got 17. So if you guys are listening, like if you pay attention to what I'm saying, anybody that has 15 to 17 players didn't have a really good season.
Obviously not. How do you have a team that in the reserve?
Exactly. That calls for a lot of problems for a team to fill those slots.
Yeah.
Lou, your New York Jets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 guys for your club.
Yeah.
Seattle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 guys for Seattle. Tennessee Titans. Oh my Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 players. So again,
Wow.
but now listen to so all the teams that I'm talking about, most of the teams, they're firing their coaches, right? But
Yeah.
how do you fire your coach when you have that many guys on injury reserve? And how do you replace them? Washington has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They have 18 guys that's on injury reserve, right? So how do you? It's hard to replace these guys. That's why I tell people all the time, it's not the 22
Well,
that you need to be worried about. It's the 53. It has to be the 53.
Kevin,
Go ahead.
that's those numbers that you realize they're pretty inflated now. Keep in mind, because all of those players that you mentioned are not starters.
No,
Some of them are not even backups. Some of those guys are off the special teams or even off the squad or whatever, because they count them guys too. But those, but there's some of those teams have been decimated by injuries, but not to the point where they got like 20 guys or 15 guys on the IR, because some of those guys don't play anyway.
right, and I agree with you on that right there because Houston Texas have 17 guys as on IR, but again, like I said before, it's not the 22 that matters; it's the 53 that matters. But the issue though comes into play is when you have to replace those players. Where do you find these players at? Like like when you're looking at your team, like you look at Miami, and you pay really close attention to what goes on with them after Sunday. Who's injured? Who's gonna play? Who they bring up on the practice squad? Things of that nature. To me, that matters because even though you're on the practice squad, you're not running plays that you're gonna play. You're not running plays that your team's gonna run. You're running plays. You're on the practice squad because you're gonna run the plays that the other team's gonna run. So I get what you're saying, but at the same token, though, those some like for like I didn't even look at the Rams. Let me just look at the Rams real quick because I got a comment on them because like their special teams was terrible this year. They gave up a touchdown to the Giants. They gave up a touchdown to the Baltimore Ravens, and um in um in the overtime game. Now Los Angeles Rams injury reserve. They have 3 guys right now on injury reserve. 3. And that to me tells me that this is why I think they made the playoffs because the offensive line stayed healthy. They probably got the least amount of players on the injury reserve. But when you get the top-notch guys, like I just said, Joe Burrows, Deshaun Washington, Justin Herbert, Anthony Richard, quarterbacks, you get them guys hurt. Kirk Cousins, that changes your whole perspective of the team. Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins for the Ravens, Tank Dell for the Texans. If Tank Dell doesn't get hurt, we don't hear about the other dude, the other wide receiver they have. You know what I'm saying? You got Jack Conkle, right tackle, Nick Chubb for the Browns, Trayvon Diggs. Maybe Dallas defense is not as bad as it is if Trayvon's playing. And you got Matt Judon, who's a good defensive end for the Patriots. Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle for the Falcons. So those guys, I think, missing those guys, and it goes to show you how big the gap is between being a starter and not being a starter. What's up, Justin? And I tell people this all the time. You don't understand how big of a difference it is from the starting left tackle to the backup left tackle. And then if you take, and let's say, for example, you have a team that the left tackle goes out and you move your right tackle to left tackle, then you put in a new right tackle. That's letting us know that you don't have a good left tackle backup. So now we're going at the left tackle because he's not really a left tackle. He's really a right tackle. You know what I'm saying? So that lets the other team know, well, they really don't have a good backup left tackle. That's how hard it is to keep a 53-man roster healthy enough to get into the playoffs, even with the 17-game schedule, which they're already talking about adding adding two more games to the schedule, which I don't understand what the owners are trying to do here. Or they trying to make football last all year long, or is the football going to start in August? Because I know that's going to be a conversation in the winter meeting about extending the football schedule, and I think the players need to put a stop to it. I think do you guys agree? Do you think it should be 20 games, or are y'all okay with 17?
And it may not go by myself.
I don't know, man. I
I
mean,
like it.
go ahead.
I don't like 17 games. That's anything. Why did they make it 18 games?
Well, and that's the thing about this. They did the 17 because they knew that eventually it was going to be 18, right? They did it like that. So see that these owners are slick, man. They slick, and you can expect maybe two more. You can pretty much be assured that they're going to add at least two more teams, franchise teams, in the next 3 years. I think San Antonio is going to be one.
What did you say, Kevin?
That they're going to add two more teams to the NFL.
I already watered down. Sorry, G.
And just think, Miss Jones said, I think 17 is enough. But why keep pushing the limit? But that's just the owners being greedy.
Yeah.
That's all it is being greedy. Because if you think about it, if you add it, let's say they make it 18 games. Let's say they make it 19 games. So
yeah,
the games at the beginning of the year don't really matter that much anymore than the games at the end of the year. Yeah, the players will definitely get more money because they're playing more games. But if you think about it, so you're only gonna play 2 preseason games, and the first 2 games that you play during the season ain't gonna really matter because you got 15 more games left to play. So in actuality, you only get 2 preseason games, but you get 2 games in the season that could be considered preseason games as well, because those games are not going to matter no more. Because 18 game season is a long season. Now, supposedly if they add another game on, teams are going to get 2 bye weeks. Okay, and they're talking about not having a bye week in the first month because they said they want everybody to get their footing. So after the 4th week of the season, then the 5th week you might see you might see teams with bye weeks from that point on. And then they said the bye weeks are going to stop on the 12th week of the season. So from the 4th to 13th to the 17th or the 18th week, you're not going to see no more bye weeks. All the bye weeks will be done, right? So they got this. I'm telling you,
it makes sense.
The players the players will be the ones that say they want to or don't want to when it comes to this kind of stuff right here. But again, that's the list of all the teams that with the IR situation going on, and the list is long of players that's going on right now. But hey, that has a lot to do with wins and losses. And like I said, like I just gave you the Washingtons and the Patriots, and look at their record. Not saying they don't draft well enough, but when you're already mediocre and you lose starting guys, and granted, maybe I can't use Washington because they got rid of both of the bookends for trade pieces, but we can use the Patriots as a team that they were in some games, they was in some games, not in some games, but they had a bunch of guys on the IR. If they're not on the IR and they're playing, and some of them starters, then they maybe have a different season. So I just wanted to bring it. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I know you mentioned the Miami Dolphins and all those injured our guys, but half of them guys don't even matter. If you just gave me 4 key players that was injured on that team, that would make a difference in that team. And that's Bradley Chubb, starting edge rusher, Jalen Phillips, starting edge rusher, Xavier Howard, starting cornerback, and Andrew Van Ginkel, linebacker. You give me those 4 guys right there. The rest of them guys, They probably need to be on the street anyway.
Well, and to be honest with you, some of them do come off the street. Like for example, Baltimore last year, they had over 30 some guys that's on injury reserve, so they were getting guys off the street to come in and play. But the thing about it is though, they were still winning. So then that goes to show you what type of coach you do actually have, because Baltimore still winning without the quarterback. They were still winning without the starting quarterback. And all the other running backs they missed out. So that where coaching comes to play. That's what coaching comes to play at. When you have situations like that going on. So again, I agree with you on that. You know, it's 4 or 5 players on offense or defense. If you lose them, they're pretty much done. But again, that's where you have to go with your you have to go into your that's just where you have to go into make sure that you kind of draft well with certain players. And that's why you go back and look at the history of your players you have and who's injury prone. And so you try to build around a backup for that person or whatever the case may be. Guys, excuse me, I don't know who that was on there playing music, but I removed them on the line. They had, first of all, the number didn't show up, so they definitely weren't gonna get in. Next up, guys, predicting head coaching hire for every team that needs a coach. So I pulled this up today, and it's pretty interesting. And I'm gonna say the wild card team in all of this is the Dallas Cowboys. Because after watching Dallas Cowboys play yesterday, is anybody on this panel feel like that McCarthy or Dan Quinn should be able to keep their job?
I think that he's going to go. I mean, you know, there's no way that you can have 3 straight seasons like Aaron Silver was and not make it past the first round of the playoffs. So I think that Purdy's going to get the action within maybe like a week or so. I think it's going to come. He's got to
go. Okay. Curry, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, if it was left up to me, I'd can the whole squad because Dan Quinn, I mean, his defense was supposed to be so good. I mean, they looked terrible yesterday. And McCarthy, he fired his offensive coordinator last year, so he was going to take over the play calling. And man, he was horrible yesterday too. So yeah, I probably just get rid of that whole coaching staff. But you know how Jerry is. He'll do just what the opposite of what everybody thinks he should do.
All right, we got another caller online. The number's unavailable. Do you have something you want to talk about, or you want to chime into what we're talking about? Okay. I always say when you come in, make sure you bring a friend. Matthew, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts was the Cowboys.
Go ahead, Matthew.
My thoughts was the Cowboys and the coaching staff. I believe that they will probably get rid of Quinn because Quinn could be potentially into Seattle. Seattle apparently that's their top person that they want between him and the defense corner from the Ravens. From McCarthy though, it's just a wait and see. Like, how bad is Jerry Jones want to get rid of him? Because if you've seen on TV yesterday, you watched the game. When they went to Jerry Jones, he did not look very happy at all. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if McCarthy gets fired, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if McCarthy is still in.
Okay. And so, you know, I was watching ESPN today and watching First Take, and Stephen A. had made a comment that he felt like that, I mean, not Stephen A., but a lot, Lozvik, the quarterback that played for the Detroit Lions, who's a analyst. I can't think of him. I can't pronounce his name correctly. Dan Orlovsky, thank you. He had made a comment that he said they should get rid of both coaches, both coaches, and also get rid of the quarterback, right? Because he's not good in January. Okay. And which is a fact that he's not good in January. But I don't know if you get rid of this guy. It's hard to say because the thing about it is that if he's not good in January, that's when you need to be good. You're good all the season, and you have a home game. You could have had at least 2 home games in this playoff, and you're not the main reason why they lost, but you contribute to the why they lost. I don't know if you get rid of Dak. Now I'm gonna say that if you do, if you're bringing another coach, maybe the coach, he's not gonna be the guy for me. Go ahead and trade, get what you get for him. Let's move on. You're gonna have some years where we're not gonna be winners. We're not gonna win games, but I guarantee you, we're gonna try to get back into this thing and try to win a Super Bowl eventually with the team that I'm gonna bring to the board. So I understand that point exactly. Matthew, I don't know if I want Dan Quinn in Seattle right now after what I saw last night against the Packers, against a rookie quarterback that this is his first playoff game he played in. McCarthy, he like Curry said, he fired the offensive coordinator. He said he wanted to be more hands-on, and I agree with that because if you're going to get fired, I'm going to be the reason why I get fired. I'm not going to allow no assistant coaches to make decisions for me to be fired. When I go back and say I should have did this or should have did that, no, I'm the one to make the decisions, so I'm the one to get fired. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'll be okay with being fired if I'm making the decisions. But I just think they're the wild card right now because what I'm reading right now is I don't know. I'm reading this and this came out and the predictions they're saying for 2024 hires is that Bill Belichick goes to the Falcons. I'm not keen on that right there. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because they're not Super Bowl ready. But I think the owner would allow him to be the GM. But being the GM, he hasn't did well. Who has he put? I mean, other than Tom Brady, how many Pro Bowlers have they had on that team since he's been a GM? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's the only reason why I think that the Falcons would do it because he'll give an opportunity to be the GM. Seattle is Dan Quinn, and this is prior to the game last night. The Raiders, they got Antonio Pierce. The Commanders got Ben Johnson, which is the offensive coordinator for, I think he's the offensive coordinator for Detroit Lions. And they have the Titans, they got Bob Slavic, who is the offensive coordinator for the Texans. Eagles got Mike Vrabel. Chargers got Jim Harbaugh, and the Panthers got Eric Bieniemy. Now, again, do you guys agree with the scenario of why the Falcons would get Brian Belichick? Do anybody agree with that scenario? Okay. Curry, you got any comment on that one?
I can see Bill Belichick's reason for going to the Falcons, but I can't see the Falcons' reason for wanting Bill Belichick because, for one, Bill Belichick's like 71 years old. I mean, Bill Belichick's not looking for Super Bowls right now. He's got enough of them. He can probably give me and you a couple of them. But what he's after, he wants to break Don Shula's all-time wins.
Yeah.
And I think he's like 15, 16 games away from that. So to go somewhere where he can pick up those wins, that's the last thing on his resume right there. After that, his resume is complete. But he would love to go somewhere where he can win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady, like Tom Brady did him.
Right. I think that means more to him than the record. Because if he goes to a team that has opportunity to win Super Bowl without Tom Brady being there, he's going to get best of both worlds. He'll get his wins that he need to break down Schuler's record, and he'll get a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. That's why I don't know if the Falcons is a good fit for him, because they're going to give him the GM job down there, and I think that's why they would do it. It says here, Bill Belichick won 6 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots, and now 31 years old will take his talent to a new team for the first time in a quarter of a century. Belichick might have slowed down a bit, and his inability to find successors to Tom Brady is a little worrisome, but he can still coach. He still can coach a defense. The Falcons have plenty of talented players, and if they land someone like Kirk Cousins, or this team could find itself back in the postseason picture before long. So getting Kirk Cousins, that's okay, but I think they need more than Kirk Cousins to get them in the playoffs. Even though things were tight in that division, they had their opportunities, they blew it down the end. So maybe that might be a good fit for Bill Belichick, because he can teach them how to win those close games. Seattle has got Dan Quinn. Like I said before, after last night's game, I don't know if I want Dan Quinn, because look like
now there is an update with Seattle.
Go ahead.
There is a rumor going out now that they are thinking about Bill Belichick.
Wow.
This is within the coming out.
What sense does that make? Why would you want to get rid of one 70-some-year-old coach to bring in another 70-some-year-old coach? Nobody knows that team like what's the guy's name that just left?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll. Nobody knows that team better than Pete Carroll.
Wow. And so if Seattle think that they're Super Bowl bound with Belichick, I ain't gonna be mad at them. But again, I kind of agree with Curry said. You trade one 71-year-old for another 71-year-old. They both won Super Bowls. They both played each other Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't know. That's just and what it says here, Seattle Seahawks moved on from Pete Carroll because they wanted a younger head coach. And Dan Quinn is just a young version of Carroll. He made it to the Super Bowl when he was Atlanta's head coach, and he led some strong defenses with the Cowboys. Of course, Seattle themselves. The front office is very familiar. What Quinn brings back to the table to his head coaching hire seems like a no-brainer. Okay. I don't know. The Raiders, I'm all in for that one. Commanders, I'm all in for that one too as well. Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, I saw that. Titans, Bob Slavic. I think he's a good choice for him. He's a young guy. He can groom that quarterback down there. Eagles, Curry, what you think about Mike Vrabel maybe going to the Eagles? And I forgot the Eagles could be a wild card because they lose badly to Tampa Bay. I think Serrano might be out of there. What's your thoughts on him going there, be the head coach for that team?
I think anywhere that Mike Vrabel goes, I think he would be probably be improving on whoever has got a coaching vacancy. But I just think he's just a pretty good coach himself.
Okay. And the thing about it is, you got AJ Brown right there. He scrubbed all his stuff off. Any Eagle stuff he had on his Twitter account is gone, so that means he's out of there. So that means there's some internal issues going on there. And the thing about it is, people don't understand is that some people do understand, some people don't understand, is that they lost both the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, and then they brought in Matt Patricia as a defensive coordinator later on down the line, which it hasn't helped them because they lost 4 games in a row. And they walked into the playoffs with one of the Eagles' wing broken to get into the playoffs. So there's something going on with them guys that's not right. Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, I'm okay with that one. The Panthers, Eric Bieniemy, I don't know if I like this move right here because he has nothing down there. He has to basically start all over. Frank Reich was the one that wanted that quarterback down there. So who do Bieniemy want as quarterback? You know what I'm saying? I told you guys about the list of guys that's been on the IR for them as well. But at least Eric Bieniemy gets an opportunity to showcase his talent somewhere else. So I'm okay with most of these. Picks. The Eagles and the Cowboys to me are probably the most wild cardish ones because they're both have good teams. They're maybe one or two players away, or maybe one head coach away, or one great defensive coach away from getting to the Super Bowl again. So I'm looking at them too as a wild card. Like I said, depending on what happens tonight with the Eagles, is Sirianni is still there or not? I think injuries have really played a part in the Eagles down the stretch, but again, there's something internal going on that nobody's putting their hands on. We'll probably figure it out if they lose tonight, we'll find out that what's going on with them. Like I just found out that Bill Belichick didn't want Matt Jones as a quarterback up there. He did not. He wasn't. That was Robert Kraft's doing, right? He didn't want that guy there. So everything, even though he's a GM, he didn't have the last say. So Robert Kraft, whoever's above him, made that call to bring in that quarterback. So he's quietly being a Jerry Jones. He's just not on the out front of everything. But see now, if you look at it like that, you'd be like, well, man, he didn't want him there in the first place, but you gave him to him. But he's the GM and he's a head coach. He's won 6 Super Bowls with that team. So you're telling me that his vision, his knowledge of the game is not that important when you override it by somebody else and you get the guy Matt Jones who's not going to be probably won't be there next year. So you just wasted 4 years of Bill Belichick's career in New England. In New England because you gave him the quarterback he didn't want. That right there is a heartbreaker.
Kevin, if he hadn't got that quarterback, who would he have got him?
Well, I think they probably would, because Belichick always wants to win and he wants to be in the playoffs. I think they would have went for a veteran quarterback, in my opinion. I don't think they would have brought in a younger quarterback. I think they would have brought in I think they would have brought in a younger quarterback that they could groom, but they'd have brought in a veteran quarterback that says, okay, I need you to help me groom this guy to be.
They tried that with Cam, didn't they?
Well, even like Carson Wentz, I would have looked at Carson Wentz and said, okay, I'm gonna bring you in here, but I'm letting you know that it's his job, but I'm gonna let's see how well you do, and eventually he's gonna take over. But that leads me to another question, guys. How does the Packers get it right all the time? The last 3 quarterbacks they've gotten right. What are they doing up in Green Bay that nobody else is doing in the NFL? And you guys, you know what the key, you know what they're doing? They're being patient. They're being patient. They're being patient with the quarterback. So you're not.
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing, right?
Go ahead.
They're getting rid of the quarterback before he's out of time.
Okay.
Like when they got rid of Paul still has 2 years left, but he could get close. And they thought Aaron Rodgers, they know he don't have much left, but so when they drafted Jordan Love, they was getting him prepared for the departure of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Same way they got Aaron Rodgers prepared for the departure of Fred Favre.
And I don't disagree with you, but they doing something right. That's all I got to say. And they're doing something right up there in Green Bay. So that's you gotta give them credit. You gotta give them credit for that. And I think if most teams would think about that, teams that have veteran coaches, I think, should think more like that. Like looking at Pittsburgh right now, they're losing 31-17. They got 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're going for the 4th and 3rd. And you got Rudolph, you got Rudolph as the quarterback right now. And he said the reason why I with him because he got the hottest hand. But you just went out and drafted the young kid, right? And you're saying to the young kid, oh, well, you can't get it done for us. So we're moving on from you. Now this is what's gonna happen if they lose tonight. Going forward, he's gonna say if Tomlin's still there in Pittsburgh, he's gonna say that the kid from Pittsburgh is gonna be the starting quarterback next year. But Randolph is the one that won the games they needed to win to get them to the situation they're in right now. Now, if you're that quarterback, I'm saying to myself, what else I gotta do to prove to you that I should be a starter? So that's gonna motivate me more on the off season to do what I gotta do. I'm calling my backup wide receivers to my house. Come on, let's go throw the ball. Or I'm gonna even ask the starters, yo, let's go throw the ball. You know, and when the kid from Pittsburgh says, yo, guys, y'all coming over my house? Coming over my house, they're gonna say, nah, man, we with Rudolph. We're down with Rudolph throwing, and they're gonna be like, well, why you down with them? Oh, because that's what we want. That's what we want as a starter. You know, so I think that that's where I think the patience come into play, and we don't have a lot of a lot of teams don't have a lot of patience with the quarterbacks no more. They want instant win right now. You know, like even with a coach, look, Frank Wright was there for 1 year. They fired him, but we just went over. They almost had 22 players on IR. Get him in. To me, I think
Right wasn't even there for a year.
no, he wasn't there a year, and they fired him. But the thing about it is, you have so much money, you can fire him, find another coach, find another coach. But you're listening to your fan base and saying, "Yo, why we ain't winning? Why we ain't winning?" Green Bay ain't saying that. Green Bay Packers fans ain't saying that. It's like, okay, cool, we good. So the Giants got some issues going on down there. You know, the defensive coordinator, somebody just posted something. It says reality is Bill can't develop the level of player that leads a team like Tom Brady brought to the New England Patriots. All Bill had to do was coach the obvious injured player, replace or perform poor performance. Once Tom Brady was gone, so was New England. Point in case Brady got to Tampa and wins the Super Bowl. Atlanta is a great city, and Bill is a good coach, but will he find a leader in the field like Tom Brady? So I'm gonna say this to whoever that is. If he goes to Atlanta, if he were to go to Atlanta, Justin Fields will be their starting quarterback next year. Now, can he win with Justin Fields? I think he can. I think Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I don't see why Chicago is entertaining getting another quarterback. I like Cade Williams, but last year he didn't show me anything as far as being the quarterback. Not saying that he's number one. That shouldn't be the number one quarterback, but he didn't show me the grit that I need to see from him to make USC better. Because, like they say, big time players make big time plays in big time games, and he wasn't that big time player, you know. And that's what I'm saying. So if Chicago wants to let him go, I'll be for it. But again, if you're gonna keep the same coach there, why don't you just get rid of the coach, bring in a new head coach, bring in a new quarterback? Because now Eberflus is going to be he's going to be the head coach for the Bears again next year. So what is he going to do differently with Williams that he didn't do for Justin Fields is the question. You know what I'm saying? But I think Justin Fields would be I think he would be in Atlanta if he were to go to Atlanta. And another thing about Tom Brady goes to Tampa and wins Super Bowl. Tom Brady made some throws in that year they won Super Bowl. But I'm gonna say this though: if you surround him by the talent he had in Tampa Bay, you're gonna win. And I'm gonna say this again: if Baker Mayfield wins a playoff game with the same team talent, then that to me that just lets me know that it wasn't all Tom Brady, because we know Baker Mayfield had been put out to pasture a long time ago. He's come back and he's revived that team. So I don't weigh a lot on Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because Tampa Bay, only thing they needed was a quarterback, right? They had everything else. They brought Gronk down there. So you brought one of the best tight ends down with you. So the opportunity of winning the Super Bowl was greater then than it was in New England. New England never really had any Pro Bowl players on the offensive side of the ball, skill positions like they did in Tampa. But the same team that he had Tampa the year after that didn't do so well. So I know that Tom made Bill look good, but Bill also made Tom look good in New England. Now that Tom's gone in New England and Bill's gone, Bill's going to go somewhere else and maybe rekindle what he had going forward. Hey, it's 31-17 right now with 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left in the game. 31-17 Buffalo. Buffalo's at the second and goal. Pretty much kick a field goal that kind of seals the fate. Pittsburgh has one timeout left. I'm glad they're losing because I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers hater. I'm proud to say it. But getting back to the Giants, guys. So Wink Martindale will be coaching somewhere else. They say he cussed Brian Doe out before quitting the team. And that should say something about that situation right there. That's crazy. Your defensive coordinator cusses you out. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised Brian Daboll is still there because of the situation that went on with that team. That was a mess in New York. Now, did he have anything to do with drafting players, free agent players? I think he does have some kind of has some comment on something. They never did address the offensive line, which was the biggest issue for Jones for Daniel Jones, who didn't finish the season as upright guy. Matthews on here told us about the quarterback they got right now. This guy looked like he could be the real deal. He's going to come into camp and they're going to say, "Yo, Daniel Jones, this dude is fighting. You took the dude to fight fighting for the job to be the starting quarterback because what's his name? Matthew."
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Could be starting quarterback for the Giants going forward. He beat the Eagles. He's played some good football against other teams. So you gotta give him his props. He should have opportunity to be a starter next year. But Brian Daboll, he got laid out by Mark Winkdale, and he's gonna find him a job somewhere in the NFL. Guys, let me ask you guys a question. And I'm gonna go with Lou first. Lou, why do you think Nick Saban stepped down as the head coach for Alabama?
I to deal with it. Trying to get back in there. You made the after that performance where the game, I thought I got so many years to do it. I think just took a lot of time. One of the things he is being up there in age as well. I mean, he is like 21, 22, whatever. Because he is trying to age again. But I think it took a lot out of him with the clock. Maybe combined. I think maybe he's trying to step down.
Okay, Matthew, what's your thoughts?
I believe Nick Saban stepped down from Alabama due to two things. One, the playoffs coming in to be 12 now in the coming season, I believe. He's at a point mentally in his brain that he feels like there's nothing else he can do better because he's already achieved so much in his career as a coach. And then two, he wants to spend enough time with family and potentially on that same end, maybe a TV deal with ESPN or Fox potentially.
Okay. Curry, what's your thoughts?
I think the reason he stepped down is for two reasons. One, the NIL. The NIL is these teams can go out there and they can pay money like he was doing. See, they were paying all this money under the table, getting all the players in there. Everybody coming in. Wasn't nobody leaving Alabama now. They get all the best wide receivers, all the best running backs, best quarterbacks. So they backing their team because they was paying the money under the table. Now that you can put the money on top of the table, see the playing field has gotten level now. So now he can't keep up with that. Now this transfer portal has come into play. Now these guys can leave Alabama and go make just as much money as they're making in Alabama or more. So he can't compete with that. And to win one championship in the last 6 years is playing on his mind too. Because Nick Saban has an ego that is bigger than any stadium you can walk into. I think the NIL and the transfer portal has done him in.
You know, I have to agree with you on that because remember, who's the coach for Texas? Texas is it Texas A&M? Bo.
You talk about Texas A&M.
Yeah, who's the coach?
The current head coach?
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher, yep.
I believe he used to be the former Duke head coach.
Is Jimbo Fisher?
I thought you were talking about Jimbo Fisher, who used to be an assistant under Nick Saban.
Remember at the beginning of the year when remember the beginning of the year where he went on a rant about Jimbo Fisher with the transfer portal and the money and all that good stuff going on. And he flipped a couple players from Alabama to go to Texas with a Texas or Texas A&M, whatever school he coaches at. He flipped them to go there, right? And so now with the NIL and the transfer portal, he has to work harder to get guys to come there. Because if you think about it, and I got an article here about players going to the NFL. Let me see if I can find it. I just had it here. Oh, shucks. What I do with it? Oh, man. Okay, here it is. The opportunity, and it basically, it says about the percentage of players to get to go to the NFL. So if you can make $1 million, if you can make $1 million, at a college, and you can transfer to another college and make $2 million to play football, where you going? I'm going where the $2 million is. That's where I'm going. I'm going for $2 million. And Curry hit it right on hit the nail right on the head. The NIL deal and the transfer portal has hurt Alabama because the quarterback played in the bowl game, turned around and left the next day to go somewhere else and play. So now that means he got to find him another quarterback to coach this team. I mean, to play with this team. That's too much for him to do right now. Not that I'm not saying that he has people to do it for him, but this is an added responsibility that goes along with this team, with college football. And he just don't have like Matthew said, he'll be 72 in October, right? And so I guess he feel like enough is enough. But this is what he'd been doing since he got to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? When he was at Florida? He was at Florida, right? Before he went to Miami.
LSU.
I'm sorry, LSU. Then he went to Miami. Went to Miami Dolphins. Then he came back and went to the Alabama. So what he had though, he could tell the guys how to get ready to go to the NFL. He prepared a lot of guys to go to the NFL because Alabama got a lot of players in the NFL. They'll probably have a lot of players in the draft this year as well. But the NIL deal is like, all right, now I'm giving you $2 million. He offered you $1 million. Where you gonna come and play? That's the problem that he has. It has nothing to do with. I personally don't think it has anything to do with him spending time with family, because when you that rich, you can spend time with your family and all that stuff. But now he has to go back out and recruit another quarterback that may not be on his team, right? They don't have a team right now. He got to go back and now he got to go back and recruit another quarterback. So that means that extra time that he got to go away from home, because now when you go to somebody's house, they want the head coach to come. They don't want the assistant coach. They don't want the assistant coach. They don't want the water boy coming. They want the head coach to come there and talk to their child, so the mom and dad can talk to the coach and say, okay, I'm allowing you to take my son. Is you gonna make sure he go to church on Sundays? Are you gonna make sure he gonna get this done on this day? Are you gonna make sure that he calls me every other day? All these other things he got to deal with. But now he got to deal with no more because he's not coaching any longer. I don't think he wanted to step down for coaching. I just think the NIL and the transfer portal is what hurt him to move forward. He felt like this year they gave him a bye to get into the Final Four. He lost to Michigan. He lost to the team that won the national championship. So he can't be too mad about that. You know what I'm saying? But they backdoored him in, and he didn't come out smelling like roses. Now that he's done, now he can do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to get a record, gets a deal as an analyst for college football or whatever the case may be. I don't have a problem with that. I would love to see him talk college football on Saturdays, because I tell you what, Kirk Herbstreit gets on my nerves. But this is what it says right here. This is October 21st, 2023, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama Crimson Tide. Here coach Nick Saban does his traditional walk down the Bryant-Denny Stadium before a game against the Tennessee Volunteers. Alabama coach Nick Saban stunned the college world by announcing his retirement on Wednesday. One day later, he went into detail about what details to his decision. In an interview with Reese Davis on ESPN, Saban said the grind of coaching was the primary reason for his decision. He dismissed the notion that recent changes of college football had anything to do with his retirement. Lie. If he was Pinocchio, his nose be growing. Nick Saban said it was simply a question of whether he felt he could give his best to the team. This last season was grueling. It was a real grind for us to come from where we started to where we got to. It took a little more out of me than usual. Nick Saban admitted. Transcribed by Mike Rodek of 24/7 Sports. When people mentioned the health issue, it was really just a grind of, can you do this the way you want to do it? Can you do it the way you always done it and be able to sustain it and do it in the entire season? And if I could make a comment to do this future the way, I have to do it. I thought maybe this was the right time based on those two set of circumstances. Saban has always maintained that he will walk away when he felt he could no longer devote the energy to the job that needed to be. By his own explanation, this is why he is quitting now. Saban turns 72 in October, so while he could still be successful, he holds himself to an incredible higher standard. He may ultimately transition to a much more lower stake role, Albert, one that will maintain plenty of visibility. Curry, I've got a quick question to ask you. If a college team comes out and offer him the highest paying contract to coach, do you think he comes out?
No, I don't think he probably was in the best spot to be in Alabama, because Alabama, if he said he wanted more money, that wouldn't be no problem. They just tell him, hey, you tell us what you want. He can get that. So right now, he's the best coach in college football. I'm going to say he decided to step down. I don't think he go anywhere else. I don't even think HARBAUGH is going anywhere. I think Michigan will stroke him a nice little check.
Yeah.
All of this is a PR move so that he can get that get them to warm it up the ink so that they can ink him another big fat check.
Yeah, because they give a new contract with Pac-10 because of the 4 teams they're bringing in there. So there's going to be a new contract coming down the pike for him as well. So I honestly think he stays too. I don't think he comes to the NFL because he doesn't have the control over the players he does in the NFL that he does in the NCAA. So getting back to the article about what percentage of players make it to the NFL. It says there's no doubt challenges of being picked to play American Premier Football League. According to recent research, just 1.6% of candidates are picked, and not all of them make it into the NFL. 1.6. So that's 1 out of 50 players to make it to the NFL, man. That's not a good number.
That's low.
It says only 215 out of 100,000 high school graduates who play football each year will ever make NFL roster according to stats. That equals a 0.2%. The chance of making NFL are slim. Only 6% of high school players qualify for college football, and even fewer make it to the pros. Train hard. Don't beat yourself up if you don't make the draft. Yeah, that's crazy right there. At the end, so the final score was 31-17. Buffalo Bills move on. I got to go back and I got to ask this question though. You know, what bothered me with going back to Bill Belichick situation, him retiring from New England. What bothered me with social media was they never brought up anything about him cheating. They never did. They praised him for all the good things he did, but never talked about him cheating. I have a problem with that. I really have a problem with that because don't exclude those situations out of his resume of what he did because again, he was a guy that changed a lot of rules in the NFL, good, bad, or indifferent, right? But why you don't include you call him the greatest coach to ever coach the game of football. I'm gonna say this. He's the greatest coach that coached the game, the modern day football. But I don't think he's the greatest coach ever. Because all the other coaches that were just as good as him never played 17 games, never played 16 games. They played a total of 10 games. And total of 10 games plus four more in the playoffs. Because you had maybe 6 games in playoffs. So you played a total of 16 games. But don't tell me he's the greatest coach to ever coach the game of football. I'm sorry, I'm not that dude because he breaks records. That makes him the greatest. Peyton Manning broke records. Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest quarterback to play in the pros? If you had to do a 2-minute drill, 2-minute drive down the field in the Super Bowl, would Peyton Manning be your quarterback? No, he wouldn't be mine. Because he failed too many times in clutch times, and for him to only have won 2 Super Bowls, and we know the one he got with Denver was because Denver had a great defense because he didn't play that well in that game either. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they give these accolades out to coaches. I'm not saying he wasn't a good coach. He was innovative. He made some rules changes in the NFL. He thought outside the box on pretty much everything. But to make him the greatest, I'm sorry, I can't do that. He's been there 24 years. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? He's won 6 Super Bowls. I understand that. But Bill Walsh ain't losing. Bill Walsh never lost a Super Bowl. So where did he sit? He went to 4 Super Bowls. Where did he sit? You know what I'm saying? Where do Tom Landry sit? Where does Chuck Noll sit? You know what I'm saying? Where do those guys sit at in the table of great coaches? Back then, when if you lost your quarterback, you was done, and you figured out another way to win. You could tackle your quarterback. You could hit your quarterback. You could do all kinds of things. You know, and so I'm give his flowers while he's here right now, but I just can't agree on him being the greatest quarterback. The greatest coach to ever coach the game of football. I'm sorry. They made a tuck rule up for your boy, which was truly a fumble in a game against the Raiders, and that was the beginning of the end that was the beginning of history for the Patriots because they went on and won several Super Bowls after that. You know, so see what I got. I got about 9 minutes left. So anybody got any comment on Brian on Bill Belichick or anything like that before I move on? Okay. Let's talk a little basketball real quick. I was gonna go to salary cap, but I'm not gonna do that. But let's well no, let me do this. I really don't want to talk about basketball. We really ain't got nothing for basketball really. Let's talk about free agents coming up. Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, Jason Kelsey, and Derrick Henry. Do anybody see Kirk Cousins staying staying with the Vikings? Anybody?
Yeah, I could see him stay with the Vikings.
Okay. Ryan Tannehill. Anybody have his next destination? Do anybody see him staying with the Titans?
The TV is his next route.
Yeah, I don't think that Tannehill can survive on TV. He's not a good speaker anyway. I could see him. I know Kevin loves this Flacco guy, man. I tell you that dude was fool go. But I could see him possibly go back up in Cleveland.
I would be okay with that. I would be okay with that. Mike Evans. Do you see him staying in Tampa, or do you see him going somewhere else? I see him going to Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham
don't like to pay the money though.
Well, they're going to have to do something.
They ain't got it.
They don't. They cap wise, what they got? Cap wise, Kansas City. Oh, they might have a little change left. Let's see. Kansas City is they're 17th, so they got a little bit over 30. They got a low 30. Got $30 million in the salary cap right now. You know, the salary's gonna go up. So he can take a bargain. He can take a bargain basement deal with them because they need some wide receivers because they got the most drops all year. I mean, they got the most drops in the NFL for one team in history. So I can see him in Kansas City. Odell Beckham, I see him staying with Baltimore Ravens, and maybe take a pay cut. Jason Kelsey. Yeah. Jason Kelsey, he's a center for the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh man.
I think he'll join his brother.
You know what? Oh my goodness, that was my same thought, Matthew. Here's the key though. Dick Henry. Where anybody see Derrick Henry at? What would be the perfect place for Derrick Henry? Anybody got somewhere?
Tampa.
You said Tampa? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's always
that wouldn't be too bad, Tampa. But I think he wants to go somewhere where he has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. To be in the mix.
I don't know why they didn't make a push for him this year before the trade deadline, but I think he would be a great fit in Dallas. I hate to see it.
Yeah.
I hate to see it, but I think he'd be a great fit right there.
I totally agree. I think Dallas would be the perfect place for him because they're right there knocking on the door. I can see him going there. I think Dallas would be a number one spot. I could see him maybe Buffalo. I think he could fit there in Buffalo. And I would think the Browns too, just in case, just for safekeeping, because Nick Chubb's probably won't be back at the beginning of the season. So I'm looking. You get Derrick Henry in that backfield, that would be lovely right there. That would be lovely. But I agree with you on Dallas as well. I'm gonna say that would be number one. Who we got next up? Nobody. Barkley. They'll probably franchise Barkley again. Austin Eckler.
He won't sign.
You think he'll sit out a whole year?
Hey, he got hurt this year, and look, he came back. I don't see him signing. I don't see him signing no unless he get a deal.
Austin Eckler, I think that I don't think he. It depends on who's the coach. I'm gonna say that because I think they franchised him too. So he's a big name. Tony Pollard, he's gonna take a discount.
I disagree.
Who, Pollard?
Yeah, because that dude, if you give him the perfect line, he can do some damage.
What do you think?
There's a reason why Dallas traded released Elliott, because they realized Howard was more stronger unless he's learned running back instead of Elliott.
But you know what though, Pollard doesn't have that. To me, he reminds me of a Dave Mackett guy. He doesn't have that breakaway speed. He's fast, but he don't have that breakaway speed to be an every down back.
If you give him the O line and a little bit more time, in the all season, get some more exercise in and drills, right? He'll be Frank Gore.
Okay. What about Austin Eckler? Do they resign him back? Or does he move on? Well, I think whoever the coach is going to be. That's what I'm thinking. The coach, whoever the coach will be. He's the only guy on here that's I think is also might be moved around. All right.
There's one thing I do want though.
Yes. Okay, it's coming. Here is the answer. Is the answer. So my football team was going to be the Washington Huskies was, but the coach left. So that can't be my team because I thought he was gonna stay. So
you don't like the new head coach?
Nah, I got. So
Pete Carrollson's the OC.
So I'm going to stay with the Penn State Native Lions and get one more year to show me what they do. My friend convinced me to stay with them, but I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be watching Florida State really good this year. And if Florida State looks nice, and they don't have no guys bouncing around the NFL, we bounce around that logo. I mean the thing. We're gonna be good. I'll be good. So next week, guys, I got the schedules for the Rams, the Browns, the Miami Dolphins, Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, and Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to get the Dallas Cowboys for Lou. And we can look at the schedule. I have the schedule, just don't have the dates. But I'm gonna say this though.
I do.
The Rams got 7 games against playoff teams. The Browns got 8. Dolphins got 8. I didn't look at Seattle's schedule yet. I just pulled it up. San Francisco, I didn't look at theirs either. Pittsburgh got 7. Go ahead.
Now you say you're staying with Penn State. One more year, but all I got to say is November 9th. Get ready for a good game.
Yes. I'm gonna be totally ready for it. Looking at the schedule, they have NFC East to be determined, and the only thing I realize is who came in second. That's who's gonna be their team. So they got the Eagles, they got the Giants, they play the Eagles, the Denver Broncos, the Saints. That's not listed on here, but those are three teams they play. That's they don't have their names there, but it goes by where you place at. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight, man. You ain't watched the Eagles game. Should be kind of good. We know Pittsburgh is gone, so I can go out on Facebook and just rant on all the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I just love
happy MLK Day.
Happy Martin Luther King Day to you as well. So you guys have a good weekend, man. Be safe, be warm. It's cold up here in Pennsylvania. It's supposed to snow tonight and tomorrow. I see a little. Oh yeah, it's coming down now. So it is what it is. All right, guys. You guys take care. God bless.
Able to transform this part of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Land where my fathers fought, land of pilgrims cried. From every mountainside, let freedom ring, and if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the hiking Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the smoke of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the forests of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from all here on Mississippi. From every state and every city, we will be able to feed up that thing with all of our children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics. We'll be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. I have the pleasure to present to you
Thank you for listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show. You have been entertained in the sports world by K. Dix from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with a large heart, Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, we throw stones and we do live in glass houses. Big-time players make big-time plays and big-time games. Stay ready to be ready. You have been listening to an In the Zone Sports Talk radio production. Remember, you can hear us again on star107fm.com on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Thank you for listening to the